Welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into the story of Zara, a woman who transformed her English speaking not by studying harder, but by telling one simple, funny story that changed everything. Our outline starts with Zara's frustrating struggle to speak confidently, feeling stuck and tense despite trying all the usual methods. Then comes the hilarious moment when she accidentally drinks her baby niece's formula instead of milk. A mix-up that not only gave her a weird taste, but sparked her breakthrough in speaking English naturally. From there, we explore how storytelling helped Zara build fluency by connecting language with real emotions, rhythm, and fun, turning her mistakes into memorable moments. We ask questions like, have you ever felt nervous speaking English? What's a funny or embarrassing story you could tell in English? How do you think sharing stories can help you improve your speaking? These questions make you reflect on your own learning journey while encouraging you to try storytelling yourself. Next, we break down why stories work so well. They engage your brain emotionally and help you remember language better than dry grammar drills. Stories give you ready-to-use phrases and improve your intonation, making your English sound natural and expressive. We'll even show you how to play with your stories, like adding drama or humor to practice pronunciation without stress. Finally, we invite you to create your own stories, practice telling them aloud, and share them with friends or teachers to build confidence. Remember, fluency is about connection, not perfection. Speaking is a skill best learned through real experiences and fun practice, not fear. To start this exciting journey, here's the opening script for your video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm sharing a funny and inspiring story about how one little mix-up helped Zara transform her English speaking forever. Trust me, you don't want to miss this because it might just change how you practice English too. And to wrap up your video with a warm call to action, try this subscribe script. If you love this story and want more tips to speak English confidently and have fun learning, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Let's keep growing together. Welcome to today's story time. Why this English story will transform your speaking. I'm so excited you're here because what you're about to hear isn't just another English lesson. This is a fun, real-life story, carefully crafted to help you learn English, improve your spoken fluency, and build confidence, all while enjoying every minute. Have you ever felt stuck trying to speak English? Like your words are trapped inside your head, but when you open your mouth, they come out all jumbled or awkward. You're definitely not alone. Millions of learners around the world share this same struggle. They study grammar, memorize vocabulary, and practice pronunciation, but when it's time to actually speak, their confidence disappears faster than cookies in a jar. What if I told you there's a simple way to break this cycle? A way that's fun, natural, and surprisingly effective. No, it's not a magic pill or an expensive course. It's a story. Yes, just one story, your story or someone else's, that can transform the way you speak English forever. And today, I'm going to tell you about Zara, who discovered this powerful secret in the funniest way possible. Zara is a young woman working for a global company from the comfort of her cozy apartment. Like many of us, she wanted to improve her English so she could sound more confident during video calls and chat more easily with her international colleagues. She had tried all the usual methods, watching tons of YouTube videos, doing grammar drills, and even joining online speaking clubs. But something wasn't clicking. Whenever she tried to talk, she felt tense. Her words came out slow, like they were being pulled through mud. Sometimes she would literally freeze mid-sentence, wondering if what she was saying made sense at all. She was stuck in a loop of overthinking, translating in her head, and feeling frustrated. Then one sleepy morning, everything changed. Zara was making her usual morning tea before starting work. She was still half asleep and a bit distracted, scrolling through messages on her phone while reaching for the milk powder jar. But instead of grabbing the milk, she accidentally scooped 2 big spoonfuls from a completely different container, her baby niece's formula milk. Without thinking twice, she stirred into her hot water and took a sip. Immediately, Her face twisted in shock. "What on earth?" she gasped, nearly spitting it out. The taste was weird, unfamiliar, and honestly kind of gross. When she realized her mistake, she burst out laughing. How could she mix those up? The harmless morning ritual had turned into a hilarious disaster. Later that day, during a virtual team meeting, Zara decided to share the story with her colleague to lighten the mood. She spoke naturally, just telling the story as if she were chatting with a friend. She didn't plan the words or practice them. She just let the story flow. And something amazing happened. Her colleague laughed, not at her English, but at the story itself. It was relatable, funny, and completely genuine. For the first time, Zara felt a spark of real connection through English. Her words felt alive, not like a script she was forced to memorize. She wasn't just speaking English, she was sharing a piece of her life. This simple, silly story became her breakthrough moment. This experience opened Zara's eyes to a new way of learning. It wasn't about perfect grammar or fancy vocabulary. It was about telling stories, real stories from her life, full of emotions and details that made her English come alive. Stories gave her confidence because she was speaking from the heart, not from a textbook. And that, my friend, is the secret that can change your English too. After that breakthrough moment, Zara couldn't stop thinking about how storytelling had changed her English speaking. She realized that telling her baby formula story wasn't just a one-time fluke. It was a powerful tool she could use every day. So, she started sharing it with more people. She told her cousin during a family video call, and they both laughed so hard that her little niece came running in, curious about what was going on. Then she shared it in her online English class, where other learners smiled and nodded, sharing their own funny language mishaps. Each time Zara told the story, something wonderful happened. Her English became smoother, more confident, and more natural. The hesitation she used to feel melted away. It was as if the story gave her permission to relax and just be herself. What's even more amazing is that Zara didn't have to memorize the story word for word. Instead, she learned to tell it with her own personality, adding little jokes or changing the details to keep it fresh. One day she joked, "Maybe I've discovered a new coffee flavor, Babiccino." Another time, she dramatically pretended the formula was a secret potion that gave her magical powers. Her listeners laughed, asked questions, and encouraged her to tell more stories. These reactions motivated her even more, making speaking practice fun rather than stressful. As Zara played with her story, she noticed that her pronunciation improved naturally. At first, she recorded herself and cringed. Her accent felt heavy and her rhythm was choppy. But with each retelling, she paid attention to how the words sounded, how native speakers would change their pitch, or where they would pause for effect. She started mimicking those patterns, experimenting with drama and sarcasm, or even pretending to be a news reporter delivering a breaking story about her baby formula disaster. Through this playful repetition, her English began to sound more native-like and expressive. This method sparked a new wave of creativity for Zara. She began crafting new stories about other funny mistakes she made in English. For example, she laughed about the time she accidentally said, "I'm boring" instead of "I'm bored" on a date, confusing everyone. Or when she texted, "I want you" to her boss instead of "I want your input," which led to a hilarious explanation. Each story became a little performance, a way to practice speaking in different situations and emotions. These stories weren't just practice, they were part of her life, turning her learning into an adventure filled with laughter. Soon, Zara stopped thinking of English as a difficult subject to study. Instead, it became a way to share herself with the world. The more she told her stories, the more fluent she felt. She was no longer memorizing grammar rules or translating in her head. She was living English in the moment, messy, fun, and real. And that's what makes storytelling such a powerful tool for any learner who wants to transform their speaking. It's not just about language. It's about connection, confidence, and joy. You might be wondering, okay, but why exactly does storytelling work so well to improve speaking English? That's a smart question, and it actually has a lot to do with how our brains learn languages. When you study English by memorizing grammar rules or isolated vocabulary, your brain treats this like storing information in a list, kind of like putting books on a shelf. But the problem is, those books don't get opened very often, so the information stays unused and easy to forget. On the other hand, when you hear or tell a story, your brain lights up in a completely different way. It gets engaged emotionally, visually, and logically all at once. This means the story becomes something your brain remembers deeply and can easily pull out when you need it. Think about the last time you laughed at a funny video or shared a hilarious story with friends. You probably remember exactly what was said, how it was said, and even how you felt. That's because your brain connected the language with emotion and memory. Zara's baby formula story wasn't just a random tale. It was a vivid, funny event with feelings attached. Each time she told it, she strengthened those connections in her brain, making it easier to recall and use the English words naturally. This is called emotional learning, and it's one of the strongest ways to acquire language. But there's more. Stories naturally repeat important language patterns without making you feel like you're stuck in a boring loop. When Zara told her story, she used phrases like, "You won't believe what happened, I accidentally drank," or "I was so embarrassed." These aren't just random sentences. They're useful chunks of language that help you communicate clearly and expressively. Repeating these phrases in different stories and contexts helps your brain store them as ready-to-use tools, rather than isolated vocabulary that's hard to pull together in real-time speaking. Another reason storytelling is so effective is because it teaches rhythm and intonation, the musicality of English. Native speakers don't just say words. They perform them with rises and falls in their voice, pauses, and stress that add meaning and emotion. These patterns are hard to learn from textbooks because they come from feeling and practice, not rules. When Zara practiced telling her story with different emotions, funny, serious, sarcastic, she was training her voice and mouth muscles to move naturally. Over time, this improved her pronunciation, fluency, and confidence all at once. Finally, stories help you overcome the fear of making mistakes. When you tell a story, it's okay if you slip up because your listeners are focused on the message and the fun, not on perfection. Zara's mistakes became the highlight of her stories, making them memorable and relatable. This shift from fearing errors to embracing them as part of learning is a huge step for any language learner. It frees you to speak more boldly and joyfully, which in turn speeds up your progress. Now that you know how Zara transformed her English by telling stories, it's your turn to give it a try. Don't worry if you think your English isn't good enough or if you feel nervous. Storytelling isn't about perfection. It's about sharing a piece of yourself, and that's something only you can do. So, think about a moment from your life that's funny, awkward, or just a little bit embarrassing. It could be something small, like getting lost on your way to a new place, or something silly, like wearing mismatched socks all day without noticing. Got a story in mind? Great! That's all you need to start. The next step is to put that story into English. Don't stress about making it perfect or using fancy words. Keep your sentences short and simple, just like you would if you were texting a friend or telling someone over coffee. The goal is to get comfortable speaking your own story, not to write a novel. For example, you might start with, "One day I went to the market, but I got lost because I didn't know the streets." Then, add some details and feelings. "I was really confused and a little scared, but I laughed at myself later." The more personal and real the story is, the easier it will be to remember and tell. Once you have your story, practice telling it out loud. Don't just read it silently. Say the words. Record yourself if you can, so you can hear how you sound. At first, it might feel strange or even a little embarrassing, but keep going. Each time you tell the story, try changing something. Maybe tell it faster, slower, or with more excitement. Pretend you're a comedian telling a joke or a reporter sharing breaking news. Have fun with it. This playful practice helps your brain and mouth get used to English sounds and rhythms without pressure. You can also share your story with others. Tell a friend, a classmate, or even your language teacher. When you share, you create a real connection through English, and that makes speaking more meaningful. Don't worry if people correct your grammar or pronunciation. Take it as friendly feedback and keep telling your story. Over time, you'll notice your English becoming smoother, your confidence growing, and your fear of mistakes fading away. If you ever feel stuck, just remember Zara's story about the baby formula. Use that as a template to start your own. Imagine mixing up something silly and how you would describe it. You don't have to copy her story exactly. Make it yours. The important thing is to keep telling stories because every time you speak, you're training your brain to think in English, not just translate from your native language. And that's the true secret to transforming your speaking skills. So here we are, at the final part of this journey. You've met Zara and learned how one small, funny mistake helped her transform her English speaking skills. You've discovered why storytelling isn't just a nice idea. It's a powerful, brain-friendly method that makes learning real and memorable. And now, you have all the tools to start your own story-based transformation. Whether you're a complete beginner or an advanced learner, storytelling can unlock a new level of fluency and confidence for you. And the best part? It's fun, free, and totally personal. Starting with just one story might seem small, but don't underestimate its power. Practice telling your story every day for a week. Change the tone, add details, record yourself, and share with others if you can. Notice how your pronunciation improves, how your words flow more easily, and how you start to feel English rather than just think about it. Over time, you'll find yourself speaking more naturally, with fewer pauses and less fear. You'll begin to sound like the real you, not a nervous learner. This is the magic of storytelling, connecting language to your own life, emotions, and creativity. As your confidence grows, add more stories to your collection. Maybe a funny experience at work, an unexpected adventure while traveling, or a silly language mix-up like Zara's. Each story is another chance to practice speaking in a safe, enjoyable way. Plus, your stories become a part of who you are, making your English unique and memorable. No more boring drills or endless repetition, just real conversations with real meaning. Remember, fluency is not about being perfect. It's about being present, expressive, and willing to take risks. When you tell stories, you're doing exactly that, showing your personality, sharing your experiences, and connecting with others. Mistakes? They become part of the story and proof that you're learning. Confidence? It builds naturally as you see people respond to your words and laugh with you. That's what real speaking is all about. So next time someone asks you how you became so fluent, smile and say, "It all started with a story." And maybe, just maybe add one that involved baby formula in my tea. Because sometimes the funniest moments lead to the biggest breakthroughs. Now, grab your own story, tell it loud and proud, and watch your English transform. One word, one laugh, and one story at a time. Wow, what a journey we've been on today. I hope Zara's story about the baby formula mix-up and her breakthrough with storytelling has inspired you as much as it inspired me. Remember, learning English doesn't have to be boring or stressful. It's all about connecting with the language in a way that feels real and fun, like sharing your own stories, laughing at mistakes, and expressing yourself freely. When you tell your own stories, you're not just practicing English. You're building confidence, improving your pronunciation, and making the language your own. So don't be afraid to make mistakes or sound imperfect. That's how you grow. If you've enjoyed this video, try writing or telling a funny or memorable story from your life in English. Start small, practice often, and watch your speaking skills transform just like Zara's did. And hey, if you want more tips, stories, and fun ways to improve your English, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you never miss an update. I'm here to help you enjoy every step of your English learning journey. Thanks so much for watching. Keep practicing, keep smiling, and I'll see you in the next video.